America, are you ready to drill down? It's bold prediction time, baby. They're back. Ohio State, Indiana, Saturday, 3:30. Welcome to Freaky Friday on the Podcast Daily. Some snappy bull peas, as Bill Landis is calling them this week. We're going to power right through. He's Bill. I am Austin Ward, and we are going to just dive right in. We've been waiting a million months, 10 billion hours for a game to talk about, and it's finally here.
Yeah, over that time, Ohio State's players have run 10 million miles at practice.
You know, I just said the other day that Ryan Day has been a lot more of a straight shooter. You got to take everything he says at face value, more so than maybe any other coach in America. And then he pops on the radio show and says, yeah, great question. We do track everything they do. And they ran 10 million miles this summer, the whole team combined. I had to do the math, and I deleted it. I put it in our Slack. I said, that cannot be right. It was like 137,000 miles per scholarship player, if we're to believe that. And even if we went to counting 120 players and walk-ons, still not sure anybody was running a marathon every single day.
Seems a little high, but that's okay. The season is here. People are excited. Sometimes math is hard.
That's true. I'm very bad at the math myself, but we'll try and get some numbers right on the first in-season bold peas of the year.
Yeah. So I'll kick it off then. I think I've talked about this, right? That my thoughts, they're going to be fairly run game reliant, I think, against Indiana, a team that was not a very good rushing defense last year. I don't have much of a reason to think they'll be a better rushing defense this year. I suppose they could be, but it's not obvious that it's going to happen. And Ohio State put 340 rushing yards on this team a year ago at a time when its rushing core was a little depleted. And they're going into this one with a full deck of running backs, a offensive line that I think is juiced up to start knocking some people around. And I think with the thought too that they want to not so much protect the young quarterbacks, Kyle McCord and Devin Brown, but make sure they're not putting everything on their shoulders. So Ohio State is going to rush for 350 yards in this game, which is a high number under Ryan Day. That's a number they have eclipsed 3 other times. So it's been done before. It's not an impossible number. 350 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns. And I have layers to this as well.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So Treveyon Henderson, who I think I thought there was a chance you might start the show by saying drill baby drill. So I would have lost that
bet. We would have had to start over. That would have been a little too far, perhaps.
Yeah. So Treveyon Henderson, who I think we all believe is going to have a big year, kicks it off with a bang with 200 rushing yards and 3 of the 6 touchdowns that I have allotted for the Buckeyes in this game. The other 3 touchdowns are going to come from Mayan Williams, who's going to punch one in short yardage, Emeka Ibuka, who's going to take one on an end around, and Devin Brown, who's going to run one in for probably what I think is his only score of the day.
I just about did a real life version of the Vince McMahon gif. That was getting spicy. Woo! Okay. I like the end around part for sure.
Yeah.
I also think, and I think it qualifies as both bold and a prediction that I think is a real one, which I mentioned on the gambling show that I do think you're right. A quarterback will run for a touchdown. Maybe it will be Devin Brown, but I did mention that the odds were plus 145 for Kyle McCord to rush for a touchdown on Saturday. And I think that is almost certainly going to happen. In fact, I guarantee it. It's bold predictions. You have to go further than that. It's absolutely going to happen. And why is it so bold? Well, because Ohio State doesn't really love, Ryan Day doesn't anyway. I guess I can't say Ohio State doesn't love it, because Urban Meyer absolutely loved to run his quarterback. But Ryan Day, I think, is more willing to run Kyle McCord, run Devin Brown, because of the combination of both. So they'll get it down there in the red zone. Kyle McCord will pull it. He's not going to be allowed to spike it as aggressively as he did in a spring practice or training camp, but I do think he's going to run for a touchdown. So mark that one down. I'll drill down, and it'll come on the 3rd drive of the game.
it's pretty bold because unless I'm forgetting someone doing it as a backup, I don't think Ohio State has had a rushing touchdown from its quarterbacks in 2 years. Am I forgetting like an obvious one?
Well, CJ did not run in the red zone very much, Bill,
Yeah,
and he's
CJ
not a
definitely
running.
didn't do it.
He's not a running back. But
I've
I
heard.
remember when we were in Dallas for Ohio State TCU, and Ryan Day was maybe involved in that, and it was like Dwayne Haskins. You don't expect him to run, but if you pull it one time, you could literally walk in because
Yeah.
no one expects Ohio State to do that.
Yeah, and I think that'll probably be the case this year. I like the play, and I think it's a good foreshadowing of what I agree. Something you said, and what I agree with, that is they will run the quarterback a little more this year. How much, I don't know, but any bit is more than they've done it the last 2 years. So if they do it like once a game, that qualifies as more most weeks.
All right, maybe if I use it for both the betting show and bold predictions, maybe it shouldn't count. So I'll have to go just one step further.
Okay.
And that is that, let's see, gotta count up the touchdowns. 2 out of Kyle McCord, 2, no, that's not gonna work. It's really, I wanted to give him another one because then it would be bold, like super bold. But I have been on record that this game will take a little bit longer for the offense to get rolling a little bit. So maybe Devin Brown will also add one in the second half. Now we've got there. And then Notre Dame will be like, what? We have to prepare for the quarterback? And they'll be so confused because both of them will have it on film. That's what we're doing. Both quarterbacks have a rushing touchdown. Now we're bold. Now we're cooking.
Notre Dame's going to think it's playing Navy again. All these quarterback runs. Yeah, that's bold.
Just wait till they find out that this team actually has talent.
Yeah, the build up for Notre Dame to that game is going to be nauseating. It already is.
Already is.
Yeah. Okay. My second bold prediction. So I think Jordan Hancock is going to lead this team in interceptions this year. So he might as well get on the board in the first game. I think he has 2, which is 2 more than any Ohio State cornerback had all of last season because they had none. Which still baffles me. It's like, how do you go through an entire season without a cornerback getting like 1 interception? It feels like it should happen just by dumb luck, but it didn't happen last year. So I am buying the hype with the corners and the getting H's on B's, HOBs, as we talked about. HOBs all throughout camp. I'm expecting that to show up because it was talked about so much, really going back to the spring. And if that shows up, I do think that a pass or 2 gets intercepted by the Ohio State's defense. So 2 for Jordan Hancock, one of which he returns for a tutty.
Oh my, an HOB BP. You love to hear it. Here's what I think is going to happen on defense, because I do think this game will be defensively led for the Buckeyes. Ryan Day sort of threw down the gauntlet yet again on Thursday. And I put it in, the final thoughts notebook that I posted at ohiostate.rivals.com. On Tuesday, Jim Knowles said, yeah, well, there's going to be the defensive front is a little different. That's Larry Johnson's purview. That's a different world. You got to rotate guys, and I didn't love hearing that. We mentioned that the other day. And then Ryan Day on Thursday was like, well, Mike Hall needs the lion's share of the reps. He's the third-year guy. The ones that you count on, they need to be out there. They're going to be out there. They will be out there. And Mike Hall on Wednesday night was just like, it was like watching Mike Tyson getting ready to go to the ring in 1989, and it was still 3 days away. He is a ferocious competitor, a bad man with the feet and the hands to match. And I think he's going to go out and have not 1, not 2, not 3, 4 sacks against Indiana.
I was waiting for another not there. You're going to go 5?
I wanted to tap the brakes just a little bit. There's a long season of bold peas ahead. Mike Hall, man, a healthy version. We're beating a dead horse at this point on that. It is scary. And it's been a long time since Ohio State has seen that. And I just think if you have situations where he and JT are lined up next to each other, like, good luck. I would not take the snap. I would just walk off the field.
I mean, that it should be that dominant, right? We saw Mike, I mean, take over practices to the point where we were saying, and somewhat in jest, but also kind of not really, that he should not practice because Ohio State couldn't get its work done when he was out there on the field. You would hope that shows up against Indiana. Indiana has a new offensive line coach from Wisconsin. They're trying to turn that position group around. They do have some returners on the interior of the offensive line. And actually, it could be, in the end, like kind of a sneaky good matchup, I think, but with Ohio State's defensive tackles against the interior of Indiana's offensive line. Obviously, you hope Ohio State still wins that battle, but it could be a good test. I like it. I do think Mike was definitely raring to go when we talked to him on Wednesday night. He did, as Ryan Day says, had that look in his eye. And I like the fact that, like, we're all projecting this kind of dominant play for Mike Hall, but every time we talk to people, like, no one pulls back from that. Like, Jim Knowles is like, yeah, he wrecks stuff when he's in there. Like Larry Johnson maybe didn't want to quite go down that road, but he kind of does that with all of his guys. He doesn't want to pump them up too much, at least publicly. But Mike Hall certainly seems to be embracing it, and his teammates can't stop talking about how good he is. So he's definitely getting on the board with a sack. Like, that much I think is a guarantee. 4, though, is pretty spicy.
2 probably would have been spicy. It's been so long since he got to go out there, and defensive tackles aren't exactly supposed to make all of the sacks for your team. And like JT and Jack Sawyer probably fighting for a couple as well. So the race may be on for the quarterback. You went pretty far on the season long BPs a week ago with the sack total.
Yep.
But I understand why, because if you get all of those guys in the top 4 or 5 going and healthy, like, they're going to be a problem. Like, they have that much top end potential.
It just feels to me like a year where you might have like 5 guys between like 6 and 11 sacks. And then you have that, obviously that season long total is going to creep up significantly past where it's been the last few years for Ohio State. So if everyone stays healthy, like, I think that's a legitimate thing that could happen for them. My last pick. So I have accounted for, and we'll get the scores, but I have accounted for all but one of the touchdowns that I think Ohio State is going to score in this game with my rushing projection and my pick 6 for Jordan Hancock. The last touchdown, and this probably doesn't qualify as bold. It's probably not actually that bold at all. But
I think it might be. If you say it, I'm going to tell you what's bold about it.
It's not bold. But we're not going to put it anyway. The other touchdown that I'm missing here will be scored on at least a 60-yard bomb from Kyle McCord to Marvin Harrison Jr. Maybe it's bold for its specificity.
Yeah.
This would be the longest reception of Marvin Harrison's career, by the way. He has never had a 60-yard reception. Or is that right? Maybe he had one the year before. He didn't have one last year. I didn't go back and look at his game log from his freshman year, but I don't think he had one that year either. He
only had 6 catches, right? So
yeah, they were all touchdowns. Yeah. He had a 58 or 56 yarder against Indiana last year. And I think the reason I put the specific yardage on it, is because I do think this is a run the football, set up play action shots kind of game for Ohio State. And Marvin's going to be the recipient of, and I guess this is bold too, what I think will be the only passing touchdown of the game.
Yeah, and I thought that you weren't going to say Marvin's name, which meant that would have been a bold prediction by itself, that he wasn't going to score a touchdown in the opener. Yeah, I thought you might have been saying he's
going to score.
Yeah, I thought you were working up to the deep ball to Julian Fleming like Doug did on Thursday, and then like, okay, no touchdown for Marvin Harrison. The Heisman is gone, baby.
No, well, that's the thing. Yeah, I can't say he's going to win the Heisman and then say he's not going to score in the opener. So he's going to score. He's going to get his. And then, like, whatever. If you're mad that he didn't get 4 touchdowns against Indiana, he's going to have like 9 against Youngstown State. So it'll be fine.
Yeah, I told you on Wednesday night when he was in there working out on the Monarch again that he shouldn't play against Youngstown State, and other people in there were like, "Whoa, wait a minute." We would like Marvin to win the Heisman, so he's gonna, get 6 touchdowns in the first quarter and then be done.
That's right. Then to put a billboard of him somewhere in like where people don't vote for the Heisman, like Oregon did.
That's just brilliant marketing, really. I mean,
it's money well spent.
How many people do you think on the street there knew who that was?
Where it was in Dallas, right? Is that where it was?
Yeah, and I thought they put another one in like New York City.
Yeah, I think they did put one in New York City. I just don't understand it. Like, I guess it's good to make people aware of Bo Nix, but like, do they think that Joe Public walking down the street has a Heisman vote? I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a Heisman vote anymore. You don't have one anymore, do you?
I have one still, yeah.
Oh, you still have one. All right, well, never mind then. Jeez, just they should be just dropping Bo Nix off in your front porch.
Just put a billboard right here out my window, yeah.
Like, hey, buddy, have you heard about this guy who's been playing college football for 15 years? Give him a career achievement award. No, yeah, that's a hard pass on that one. All right, yeah, I was ready to dive into cornerbacks breaking the schneid from all of last season as well, and Jordan Hancock getting a pick or two is a great selection. I think that I wanted to give one to all three, but I think they're going to come up just short. Denzel Burke will have one, and Davison Igbinosun will have one. I think Jordan Hancock will miss out on the interception parade. I think we've seen Denzel Burke, like, this great offseason. We've talked about it a ton. He's had games certainly more as a freshman, but also the way he played in the Peach Bowl, where you know that he can perform at a pretty high level, know what that looks like. I'm intrigued to watch Davison Igbinosun, though, more than the other two. Like, Jordan Hancock is a great guy, great work ethic. We know the hamstring as well. But like, I have a good idea that both of those guys can get the job done. And Igbinosun, you play as a true freshman in the SEC, that's pretty good. So it's not like he hasn't put it on film already, but I haven't seen it other than just 5 practices in the spring and a couple outings in August. So I think I'm maybe more intrigued. Spent all this month talking about pretty much every other position, and I haven't talked a ton about the corners the way maybe you and Berm have. But he's someone that I'm ready to want to see in a competitive environment. And I think, given the way that his teammates talk about him, the way that Marvin talked about him a couple of weeks ago, he's probably going to be up for that challenge in a big way.
Yeah, he has a little bit of production in that area. I think he had 3 last year at Ole Miss, if I'm not mistaken. How about this? So if you don't want to say that all 3 are going to have one, how about Denzel Burke gets one and Davison Igbinosun gets his on a play where Jordan Hancock is in the slot and like he tips the pass that is intercepted by Davison Igbinosun.
An HOB to INT?
That's right.
Wow. All right, I'll give you that.
Okay.
That's a teamwork drill down as well. So those are the bold P's. Berm has submitted one, and the reason he's not here, if you have not seen, is a heartbreaking one. Our Bill and I want Berm and everyone in his family to take as much time as they need to heal, and it's going to take a while. Heartbreaking. Look for the details on Berm's social media if you have not already seen them, and if you can help his family and support, please do so. Sorry to take a wild turn into the seriousness there, but want to explain why Berm's not on with us today. And I'm sure that you can all understand why. When he's ready, that normal coverage will continue. I know that his family still will want to be watching the Ohio State game over the weekend for sure. Berm is riding his Treveyon Henderson, driving that bus with 3 touchdowns of 40 yards or longer.
What?
So he's drilled down further than Bill. That is his bold prediction. And he's got him with over 200 yards on the triple ding down.
Yeah, he better.
Ding down.
He's got 120 yards worth of touchdowns. He better have 200 yards.
Yeah. What's going on with the rest of those carries?
Oh, I guess not 120. You said 3. Yeah, 3. Right? 3 or 40. Yeah,
40 yards a piece on each ding dong.
Yeah, that's a. I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say.
Do it.
It's a long ding dong. Yeah.
There it is. That's a lot of long ding dongs. Anyway, so yes, you have the score. We already gave our score predictions. We did that on Thursday. We don't have to do that on Bold Peas anymore.
We can just say them without analyzing them. Yeah.
All right. What did you have?
Ohio State 56, Indiana 24.
Yeah, maybe people didn't watch the betting prediction show because they love Bold Peas more.
That's right.
They're not looking for gambling advice. They're looking for crazy things that are only going to happen in our imagination.
That's right.
So this this will definitely not make sense to anyone who regularly watches bold predictions when I say that Ohio State is only going to win this game 38-10 and not cover. Yeah. New year, new me, new beans.
That's too normal. I don't like it.
But that's what makes it bold, because
I guess context matters. In context, it is bold. Yeah.
Yep. I'm just going to try it out, see if it works. Maybe next week I'll be saying that it's going to be 110-0 against Youngstown State, which, if we're being honest, it probably should be. But that's for another week. Ohio State and Indiana is tomorrow. Thank goodness the season opener has arrived. Hope you all are as excited about this weekend as we are. We have tons of coverage coming your way on the podcast. Stay tuned for all of that. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the season opener. Enjoy Ohio State at Indiana. For Bill, I am Austin. Thanks for joining us. Talk to you later.